Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
We have a custom Taffin emoji that I really wanted to share with you, but I can't do that unless we're Discord Nitro. Yep.
Oh, now I gotta see Taffin. I've only seen that clip, and I should see the rest.
I don't know. Maybe that's all you need, you know?
I disagree. I don't know. Maybe we should watch Taffin, Dave.
Sure.
I did. I
Maybe
looked
we
up
should
a
watch
summary.
Taffin.
Because I looked up a summary and I didn't get very far, but one of the lines said his character is a debt collector and martial arts expert. So that's great.
Yes, hell yeah.
What a nightmare. What a nightmare person to exist. Holy moly.
I mean, the only thing we know about him is that he's screaming at somebody that they shouldn't be living there, maybe.
Yeah.
So he doesn't seem like the chillest dude.
No, not at all. And that seems like something a debt collector would do, I guess.
Yeah. I could see somebody who works in collections at Chase Bank behaving like Taffin. Hello everyone.
Hi. Hello.
We're on an episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
It's the show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman. I'm
your other co-host, David Bell.
And hey, it's me, Alex Schmidt, getting to hang out. Feels great.
Alex.
Woo.
Alex.
Thank you, guys.
How's it going? Welcome.
Yeah.
Always good.
Thanks for being on the show.
I'm like actually hyped about some movies coming into this,
yes.
You know? It's
That's
nice.
ideal.
I've been in a good movie mood. I don't know if you saw the Dungeons and Dragons movie, Alex.
Movie mood.
Yeah, I've just been feeling good about movies lately. That D&D movie was quite good.
I'm getting the feeling that movies are back.
Yeah, it does. Wow. It does feel that way.
It's big for movies. Yeah, that's good.
Getting pumped to see the Mario Brothers movie,
yep.
Which is getting just great reviews. Just totally.
Definitely going to be an adult man seeing that in the theater on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
On Sunday morning.
Good times.
So excited. I'm also, but like in fairness, I'm definitely not going to be the only solo adult man watching the Mario Brothers movie this weekend.
Yeah.
There's going to be many of us.
There will be. That doesn't make it better.
It doesn't make it a good thing necessarily. I'm just saying I'm not going to feel as awkward as I'm letting on.
True.
Yeah,
Alex, when are you going to see it?
I don't know if I'll see it, but I feel like anybody walking into oh no, keep me on the show. I feel like anybody walking into physical theaters and like scanning the room for who do I think is weird for being here? They're the weirdo for scanning. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
Let the adults come to the
true.
children's movies.
Right.
They're not up to anything.
When I go to the theater, it's similar to when I go to the gym in that I am minding my own business so hard that I don't notice anything. Like,
That's right.
If a fucking mass shooting broke out of the theater, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about the shooter because I am minding my own business that hard.
Yeah. No, yeah. It absolutely. It's
You'd have told me a Decepticon shot up the theater, I'd have been like, probably.
I've had a couple of theater times where I've wanted to say to people, like, I'm here for a podcast. But saying that doesn't make it better. In fact,
it makes it worse.
It really does.
Yeah.
So
Most
not
of
only
them
am I
probably are
watching
too,
this,
you know?
the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, but I'm going to sit down in front of a microphone and record my thoughts about it for an hour. Sorry, Alex, I rolled right over you there.
No, you're good. And are those Sonic movies good? Because
the first one was fine. Yeah, I didn't see we didn't cover the second one, but I think we both landed on the first one was pretty fine.
It's one of those where it was like it's too fine to want to talk about. Like every now and then there's a movie that rolls up like that where it's like, oh, and we have to talk about this. And it's like some movies just don't need to be talked about, you know? Some movies you can just go, yeah, it was fine.
It's a weird choice for a Sonic movie because like Sonic has his own like rich universe and they like pluck him out of that and put him in the real world. So that was a weird move, but like the movie itself is totally fine. It's funny. Jim Carrey's being Jim Carrey in a way that we haven't seen in like 20 years. It's genuinely pretty fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't see the second one.
Of that. Oh, yeah. There's a second one. Apparently, they're making a third one, and I read that they're trying to lure Jim Carrey out of retirement to be in the third one. And
I didn't know he was in retirement.
I didn't know he was officially retired, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Sonic 2 was his final official movie, and he might be like boxers where they just keep coming back from retirement. But yeah, apparently they're like we're gonna write such a jewel of a Mr. Robotnik role in or it's Dr. Robotnik, but you know what I mean. We're gonna write such a jewel of a role for him in Sonic 3. He'll come right back out and be like Jordan on the Wizards, you know.
He'll come out of his retirement of, I assume, being a full-time weird guy.
Yeah,
and, yeah,
definitely a full-time weird guy, a full-time beard guy. I think
beard guy as well.
I think he was a beard guy for a while, making his art.
Yeah.
Perfect.
As I understand it, his studio was just blocks away from the Cracked office.
No shit.
I think so.
What?
I think it's over by. I think his studio is near the Water Gardens. That's what I heard.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
People did see him there.
We saw him. I know. I definitely saw him once or twice. But anyway, that's. Immaterial.
We're essentially Jim Carrey is the point, I think.
Yeah,
good
we're
for us.
basically,
You know?
we're all Jim Carrey. We're all beard guys. We're all weird guys. We all like to make weird art. Speaking of making your own weird art, Alex, why don't you lay some plugs on us up top? Tell us what you're doing. What are you up to? Where can people find you?
Yeah.
Did you like that segue? It's pretty sweet.
Well, I've been painting with my friend Jim, and it's going pretty good. I'm very happy to say that the podcast is secretly incredibly fascinating. A couple of wonderful things happened. Our buddy Katie Golden has joined me every week to co-host it.
Yeah.
And also we're now on the Maximum Fun Podcast Network, which means it's still listener supported. It's still depending on folks' support, but it's over through Maximum Fun. And now we're like having a bunch of fun doing stuff with them and getting help from them that we didn't have before. And so it's just great. And I also invited Dave to come do like a special live action Mario podcast with us for that, which he was very nice to do.
It was, I mean, any opportunity to talk about the live action Mario, which without having seen it, I'm going to say is probably still the best Mario movie.
Probably.
Yeah.
The
incredible film.
You wrote a whole 2.5 hour movie about it, Dave, and it honestly kind of slaps. But anyway, sorry, Alex, we butted in the middle of your plugs.
No, not at all. And that was the big hook of thinking of Dave specifically because they did that Some More News, which is the first time I had ever heard of that movie. Like I grew up without video game consoles. I just had a PC and like I had heard of Mario, but I wasn't way into it, and so I just completely missed that movie existed. And then you guys made a giant incredible Some More News episode with the very funny bit where you like everybody knows this movie, I was like, okay, good, it's probably kind of obscure, right? Like I'm probably not the only one who didn't know there's a giant weird slimy Dennis Hopper movie.
I am genuinely surprised that you don't have like a vague memory of it, because in my memory, like just being a kid in 1993 when that movie came out, like they bombarded you with advertisements for it. But maybe that was just what I was watching. Yeah.
I don't know. I think we weren't. We like went to movies, but I would say we were not like a huge movie household either. So I think between the gaming hook and the movie hook, like I think I caught up with Jurassic Park some weeks or months after it premiered. You know, like I think I saw it in theaters, but I wasn't totally in the loop on that stuff.
All right. That makes sense. If you barely saw Jurassic Park in the theater, then you definitely missed Mario Brothers that summer.
So wait, you had a PC? Were you a Myst kid? Do you play a lot of Myst?
My brother loved it, and he was like, "You got to check out this game, Myst. It's amazing." And I was like, "What's the game?" He was like, "Well, it's impossible puzzles." And then I bought this strategy guide that tells me how the puzzles work. And I was like, this probably doesn't sound that fun. But I think maybe he was right. It seems like it still holds up from what I hear.
I like Myst. Everybody knows this about me. Myst is you should go play Myst.
Myst is barely a game.
Give it a shot.
It's mostly vibes. But it is like I do remember that copies of Myst came with a little journal, and they encouraged you to write in the journal in character as the person experiencing the events of the game.
I filled that journal.
So did I, Dave. So did I.
I will say Myst has one puzzle that is unforgivable, and that is the submarine puzzle. It is a puzzle that's just like they fucked up. Like that's one where I blame the game. But other than that,
I have no memory of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, you would.
And my brother had Riven as well. I think that's a sequel.
Hell yeah, Riven.
Riven, the sequel to Myst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yep. I played a ton of Age of Empires. I played a ton of Heroes of Might and Magic. I played
sweet. I remember Heroes of Might and Magic.
Of Maxis games like SimCity, and also like a lot of historical city builders. There was one called Caesar 3. There was one called Cleopatra.
Nice.
That's dope.
Yeah, I actually remember living with you. You'd play. You'd pop one of those on.
Yeah, Civilization games.
Play some Civilization. Yes, Civilization rules.
You want to just talk about this?
Yeah, should we just talk about like old PC games? Were you into point and click adventure games, Alex? Did you ever play like Willy Beamish?
Or no, I wasn't
Gabriel
that into
Knight?
those, no.
Okay.
I knew they existed. Yeah, I've heard of them, but yeah, it was mostly like real time strategy and then stuff like Civ or Alpha Centauri, where it's basically a board game you play by yourself, but it's so intricate that it needs to be a computer game. You know.
That's pretty. I love those.
Yeah, that really appeals to me because I frequently do play board games by myself. It's not weird. Every game now has solo rules. It's not weird.
No, it's not weird. It's totally not weird. Oh man.
Yeah, we're just saying what the audience is saying. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dave, we should probably name some producers at some point.
Fine. Okay, here we go. Naming producers. Big thank you to the lubed up ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you to @NerdNumbers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Zero Charisma.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew Howe. Deck the halls with blood.
Such a good color.
Yeah. Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you.
Thank you to Barry Two Math wants you to go to the gym and drink water. Oh, and Sky's Life. Love y'all.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
All right. Pick it up. Thank you to Bob Grenville.
Thank you. All right, let me swoop in here. Thank you to Bootler Bootlesen.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brockway Loves the Meat Millie.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank you.
Thank you to Davey, the Ghost of East Las Vegas, Francis.
Thank you.
Thank you to David Knife Boot Henson.
Knife Boot.
Knife in the boot.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, we got trailers.
We got so many trailers, guys.
We have a good amount of trailers, but I think a lot to say about each one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh man. I'm pretty jazzed for this one. I loved the first one so much. I've loved Spider-Man since I was a kid. The first movie rules. The animation style is so cool, but like Dave wrote here in the notes and that I agree with, they're basically doing the Council of Ricks storyline from Rick and Morty, which feels like they can't not know that that's what they're doing.
It's funny because like Marvel was like, we're going to do multiverse stuff, and pop culture just like swooped ahead of them and just did like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Rick and Morty, despite certain people behind the scenes, did a full coverage of multiverse,
right? And
now Marvel's like, and here's ours, and we're like, we already did it.
Just real quick, like even like Rick and Morty has been parked firmly in this multiverse stuff for the past like 7 years.
Yeah,
so it's not, like Everything Everywhere All at Once, I would argue, is also borrowing from Rick and Morty.
That's true.
Yeah. But it is just like, it even kind of looks like the Council of Ricks, and it's like
they're doing similar jokes.
It's a cool idea to get in all of the different iterations and spin-offs and variations of Spider-Man that have happened over the years. It's like, really, they've made some up for this movie, but most of them are from the comics, and it's really fun to sit there and be like, good golly, I didn't realize how many different versions of Spider-Man they've done over the years.
For the record, I want to explain real quick what the Council of Ricks is.
Oh, for sure.
It's the idea that in Rick and Morty,
like
it's the idea that there's multiverse and there's all these different versions of Rick, to the point that they have their own council and their own like organization.
Government.
It's like the UN.
Yeah,
where like they have a food court, and they have like Rick selling stuff. And that's basically what they're doing here, where it's like all the Spider-Mans, there's so many that they're in this multiverse dimension just like existing, and like there's a therapist Spider-Man and stuff like that, where it's all kind of that same beat. Oh, go on.
I remember I enjoyed the first one of these Spider-Verse movies, and I feel like they covered the jokes basically of a multiverse, right? Like they kind of did all of there's a Spider-Man who's a pig and so on. Like I don't know what they're going to do comedically in this new one, even seeing the trailer. Maybe it'll just be a much more serious version of this kind of story. I feel like they just kind of covered the comedy.
You did, you bring up an interesting point that totally slipped my mind. They had Spider-Ham in the first movie. That's the weirdest this gets.
Yeah. So I'm on board with everybody. What Safe said. I loved the first one. I'm excited for this one. I think the mistake though is, I don't know why they all have to be multiverse themed. Like the first one was multiverse themed. That's fine. Just make a Spider-Man. Just make Miles Morales. Like the hook, the quote unquote hook, is that it's Miles Morales, which we don't get.
Yeah. It's Miles. It's Spider-Gwen / Ghost Spider. It's that idea of these alternate universe versions of Spider-Man that have gotten very, very popular over the last decade, being able to be in their own movie. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
But they don't have to do another multiverse adventure at all.
No, it could just be a normal adventure that they bring in all the multiverse Spider-Man to help out with.
Right, because I would also argue that it's like they can do like Doc Ock again. They can do Green Goblin. They can do whatever they want. I mean, I don't know. The comics also probably have specific things, because like there is the fact that it's a different character. Spider-Man is a entirely different person. It's not watching Peter Parker again, really helps in terms of like the repeatability for me personally, which is like, I'll watch him fight Doc Ock again, because it's not him. It's a different character. I don't know, but
they did have
also
Doc Ock was in the last movie. Was
but you know what I mean. Like
That's true though, and even the live action movies are kind of covering the multiverse now, and doing some of the jokes or the emotions of Spider-Man meeting other Spider-Men, and I don't know. Like I guess you can keep doing that, but I remember really enjoying the first one of these Spider-Verse movies, and then I forgot it existed until you guys sent me the trailer for the second one. And I was like, oh, right. I guess we could keep this up, and cool. Great.
Yeah, no,
it's interesting.
Just real quick, that does. Yeah. It's weird because, it won the Oscar for Best Animated Film, but like, I'm kind of the same way, where I do sort of forget this movie exists. And I think it's just because we're so saturated with Marvel that this movie gets drowned out.
With multiverse.
And with multiverse specifically in Marvel.
Marvel really demonstrates it, and it's not just Marvel, as we talked about, there's other multiverse things, but how quickly a sci-fi trope these days can just be eaten up. Like a multiverse it's a trope that is very rich if you play with it, if you do interesting things with it. And that isn't to say we didn't have that in the past. There's a Star Trek TNG episode about multiverses and so on and so forth.
There's an original series episode about.
Well, there's the Evil Universe, which they revisit in DS9.
Mirror,
Tom,
mirror.
I don't know if you've seen the DS9.
Is Spock
where they
the
go
Emperor?
Back. They reference it all, but they don't have obviously. They don't have Shatner, and
they were going to leave. The thing was, Dave, is evil Spock was still kind of good, because even evil Spock is governed by logic.
Right.
So they leave evil Spock with like the idea, maybe you should try democracy in this evil dimension because it will ultimately work out for you. And he's like, oh yeah, maybe.
They follow up on that in DS9.
Sweet, Dave. I can't wait to watch that episode.
Oh yeah, there's a few episodes actually. The point
and then
being
Spock
that
fights
like
Spider-Man, right? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be so good.
Spock fights Spider-Man 2099.
yeah, but it really seems like, and also Ninja Turtles before all of this did a multiverse movie. Remember that?
Yeah.
They basically did Into the Spider-Verse before Into the Spider-Verse.
It was like a TV movie, but yeah.
But it was the exact same bit, and it was even. I would argue Into the Spider-Verse kind of ripped it off because they learn like they do all these meta jokes about meeting like the original comics Ninja Turtles, and they're like, those guys are weird, like they do a lot of fun stuff there. So the point being that it's like they're overdoing it now, and it feels like it's just a way to bang toys together, right? They do the meme in this trailer,
which they did the meme in the end of the last movie too.
Yeah, and so it's just like, it's weird that not only are they overdoing the multiverse idea, but all Spider-Man stuff is now exclusively that.
Right, it's like Spider-Man is just multiverse now. I don't super like that. To be clear, the meme we're talking about is the three different Spider-Men pointing at each other.
Yeah, and again, I think this is going to be the
meme, but anyway.
This is probably the better version in my head. This is the one I'm more excited about. But it's very telling that like they do something to death so fast that something that could, like, that first movie was very special in my mind because of all the stuff, the multiverse stuff. Now it's just like, well, it's been done to death in like a matter of years. It's been done to death.
Yeah, like 4 years.
Yeah.
So fast.
Like, yeah, they gotta calm down.
Or actually, it's been like 5 years, I think. Anyway,
I don't know.
Something I did want to point out, which is, it's not really pointing it out because it's more like a theory of mine, just based on what's in the trailer, that could push back a little bit on what we're complaining about, which is there's the character that is clearly portrayed as the villain in the trailer, Miguel, is Spider-Man 2099. And he's a really cool character. He's like this biogeneticist who tried to recreate Spider-Man and turned himself into like half spider DNA. So he basically has all Spider-Man's powers, except he's got like claws and he's a little bit more vicious, but not really. And there's this whole other the 2099 storylines are really interesting and weird. Like there's a cult of people that worship Thor, like the Marvel Comics Thor, and they're waiting.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're waiting for Thor to return to Earth. Like there's cool stuff like that in it. But the point is Miguel O'Hara is not a villain, and he's clearly the villain in this trailer, which is making me think, okay, they must be doing something with that, because they wouldn't just take a character who's just a hero and just make him evil for no reason. And they hint at something in the trailer where like they hint that something is going to happen to one or both of Miles's parents. And it seems like he's trying to use the multiverse to stop that. And that's what makes Miguel the villain, is he's like, you can't do that. And he's pursuing Miles through different multiverses. So I think maybe what this movie might be saying is that you can't just use the multiverse to undo unpleasant events or stories that you maybe didn't love. Like all of those things have to still exist. It's sort of like the Rick and Morty episode where he has the belt, I think, where he's going into different multiverses to try events over again, and of course the reveal is that he's just it's like the Prestige, where he's creating and killing different versions of himself in different universes. I feel like maybe this movie is going to make a point that's similar to that, where it's like, look, just because the multiverse exists doesn't mean you can just retcon every sad moment of your life.
Right. It could be also a meta comment on the use of multiverse and other properties.
So based on what's in the trailer, I think that might be what it is, and I hope that's what the story is, because that would be both really interesting and also would sort of kind of demonstrate that it's not as creatively I don't want to say bankrupt, because I wouldn't. These movies are
you're
saying lush and creative. But yes, it was very thoughtful and a purposeful decision, hopefully.
Yeah, it's the meta thing where it's a meta on a meta, where it's like, now we're commenting on the multiverse, which is a good thing, for sure. I was going to say another just compliment for all of the Spider-Man stuff recently. The multiverse stuff, that's a problem. But I got to note that they're very good at like being morally gray area too, which is good. Like that last one where the Green Goblin, they realize like, no, this is a sick man.
Right. He's he's mentally ill. Like you've gotta help this man.
Yeah, that was a good instinct. And this seems like you're talking about a moral gray area here again. That is a very cool thing to explore. So there's that. Do we want to any more thoughts? Do we want to move on to whatever this next thing is?
Well, the next trailer had better be an insect-themed superhero, because otherwise I'm out.
Yeah.
Forget it.
You're in luck. You're in luck. Because the next what is this? Blue Beetle from DC.
Oh,
I've never heard of this.
He's a DC hero, and the only reason I know that is because of the Injustice games. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm familiar with Blue Beetle. I remember him from 90s comics. Okay, comment retracted.
Yeah, I don't know most comics. I think when they made the Iron Man movie, I was like, I think I've heard of that guy. So
I will say that the version of Blue Beetle I'm familiar with is very different from the current version, which is Jaime. I forget his last name, but it's this character. It's this version that's in this movie.
Okay, I compliment sandwich. I'm gonna do
sure.
One, I like the device. I like a little beetle, like a little dildo that this guy like sticks to him. I don't know, something about that, like an artifact looking thing that sticks to your body. That's neat.
Wait, a dildo.
Problem.
Not to work blue, but a dildo he sticks to him. Hang on, that's not how those work. Hang on.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It's not stick-on dildo. Yes. Constructive criticism. I feel like this is every film I've ever seen. I watching this trailer, I was like, okay, so he doesn't accept the power, and then he does, and then he beats the bad guy who wants the power. Got it. Movie scene from the trailer. Compliment. Iron Man, but you can't control the suit. It's just again, fun premise. That's all. I like the premise. I like the gizmo in it. I like the idea of like this thing sticks to you, and it's kind of body horror.
It's a bit like a bit like Venom.
Yeah. It is. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Also, Batman is a fascist. That's a fun line.
Having the DC films actually address that is funny.
Yeah.
Or point it out anyway.
This feels like James Gunn's first like DNA.
This was in production long before he came on, yeah.
Good on them.
Dang. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
One thing I appreciated about this trailer, and it's a very little thing, but at the very end there was just a little like still image that said, "Hey, check out these comics that Blue Beetle is in." Like I appreciate these trailers acknowledging that not all of us have heard of these characters.
It's also a cool way to give like the artists and creators their due too, where it's like, hey, if you're into this movie, check out where this character came from these writers and artists. That's cool. Yeah, I'm into that.
I was gonna say one of the problems we don't talk about enough, and I know people talk about it, that makes comic book movies very insidious in my mind, is the fact that these writers and artists make these things for Marvel, and then they just steal them for the movies and then just say like based off a Marvel thing. And it's like like there were people, the things that people are geeking out about in the Marvel movies came from writers who aren't being credited most of the time.
Very often, yeah. A lot of the storylines, characters, emotional beats, those come directly from the comics, and those people don't get credit and don't get paid. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's weird. It's like they're stealing from themselves. And it's this big corporate machine that, like, very specifically seems to set out to fuck over creators and the actual, like, artists who made those things. They just sort of take it from them, put it in this machine, give it to someone else, and then just, like, erase them from all credit. And that's wild to me. So, like, I don't know. I think there needs to be some sort of change there in terms of, like, who gets credited for these movies.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. So yeah, it's a nice detail. It's nice that they do that. I feel like every comic book movie should do that. Or again, say based off a comic by this person and this person. You know what I mean? Like,
right. They're happy to do it when it's like, you know, based on characters created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, but when it's just like some scrub. Like the guy who created Venom was David Michelinie. Like nobody knows that. It was David Michelinie and Todd McFarlane.
Right. And,
like nobody knows that.
And I get that legally they don't have to do it. Legally they work for a company and they invent a character under that company. and then they can just say, all right, your work here is done. Kind of the same way the Lion King or all the Disney remakes. I don't think they have to like completely credit everybody who worked on the original, even if they were responsible for it. I don't know how that is, but there's this like legal gray area that they take advantage of that, bothers me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll see the Blue Beetle. I don't give a shit.
Probably watch Blue Beetle. Yeah, who cares?
It's.
I like the kid. I'm sorry, I don't know the actor's name, but he's the kid from Cobra Kai.
Yeah, there's a lot of charisma in this trailer.
Yeah,
George Lopez is fun. Want him in more stuff.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Was that was George Lopez?
A lot of facial hair, but yeah, it was him. Yeah,
a lot of facial hair, but yeah, that was totally him. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this movie looks fun.
Masked him in facial hair,
and
disguised him.
I'm doubly glad that it's not like a character that, it's not like another Iron Man movie or another Batman movie. This is a character that like never gets attention. So
right,
that's cool.
Yeah, seems fine. Should we move on to
let's do
Extraction 2? They knew what to do in this trailer. They gave us one scene where he's fighting dudes with his fist on fire.
And beating the bejeebus out of dudes with a riot shield.
Yeah. It's tough, man. My only thought was that Extraction is very forgettable because we're in a world of like top-notch action.
Right. In my memory, you didn't like Extraction when we covered it, Dave.
I wasn't that impressed by it when I saw it. I didn't think it was much of anything. And it's part of it, it's like the idea of like drugs getting stronger and stronger, where it's just like action movies like your John Wicks and Mission Impossible, you strapping Tom Cruise to the side of a plane and actually doing it. Having these stunt spectaculars, and then you have Extraction. Like, well, we're doing action too, and it's like, are you though? Like, it's not their fault. It's just the bar is so high now that I feel like I'm numb. Like I see a guy like drive a car into a building, and I'm like, and like that's weird. But that said, this looks good. This looks very fun.
Yeah, the trailer reminded me of the prison yard scene from The Raid 2.
Yeah, see?
Less frantic, but that's a much better scene, at least based on what we see in this trailer. But still, and I liked the first Extraction. I thought it did the action stuff fine. There's a couple of sequences that I still remember from that movie that are just well choreographed. Because it's also trying to do the John Wick real stunts, real choreography, impress you that way instead of like a Fast and the Furious type spectacle. So I'm into this. I liked the first one.
Yeah. Alex.
Yeah, sorry,
did you
Alex.
see that first one?
I was rolled right over you.
No. I didn't see the first one, and this a lot of trailers are just sort of quick cuts with that same pounding song, or a spooky choir version of a pop song. But like a lot of trailers are just a bunch of things smashed together from the movie, and this in a positive way reminded me of when you're in the Netflix menu and just a scene starts playing from something. It was just nice to see like a whole chunk of the movie that was action packed, and that's all they give you is like more positive to me than as much as the previous two trailers we saw were pretty good trailers. Like I don't need that constant like percussion and quick cuts of people saying dramatic stuff. So it's not necessary.
It's nice to see creative. We are definitely out of the golden age of trailers. Which I would argue was like the 70s to the 90s. And even those, there were some terrible trailers. But I'm, of course, referring to things like,
Alien.
I would argue the Godzilla trailer, fucking The Shining trailer, which is still the best trailer.
The Wolfman trailer.
Yeah. Do you remember the Minus Man trailer?
I do.
Which is
an incredible trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. Where they do like literally like little short films and like do really weird things. And so just because of that, seeing this trailer gave me a little bit of that vibe where I'm like, ooh, yeah, just show me one scene. Thank you.
Well, I also like that they clearly understand what to sell about the movie. We don't need to know a whole lot about the story. We just need to know, hey, we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same crisp, inventive, clever, tightly choreographed action. Here's some of that. If you like this, you're going to like this movie. Like they're just, exactly. It's a very clear statement of purpose, which I appreciate. Thank you, Extraction 2.
Mm-hmm.
When you said the word crisp, I heard the word Chris for a second, like Chris Hemsworth. I was thinking, like, finally, some more Chris is what is how I want to
At
describe
long
this
last, more Chris.
Yeah, I mean, so I should say the first movie was fine. It's kind of one of those movies, kind of what we talked about at top, where it's just like I don't care to talk much about it because it's just like I didn't find it amazing. It does have good action, and of course, he beats up children in it.
Beats up a gang of kids, Dave.
Yeah, so it was good. It's just in that twilight to me where it's like, kind of like honestly a Mission Impossible, where it's like you see the movie and you're like, that was fun, and then you forget it a few hours
and
later.
Never think about it again. Yeah, I loved the most recent Mission Impossible. I haven't thought about it since we recorded the episode.
Right, I couldn't even tell you what happened in it. Except
I remember Henry
Cavill getting struck by lightning.
I remember Henry Cavill calling Tom Cruise a pussy and then jumping out of the plane and immediately getting struck by lightning. Incredible film.
Incredible.
It also, anytime you describe scenes from these various movies as a person, you just sound like you're describing a dream. Like, and then he jumped out of a plane and got hit by lightning. Like, that's dream stuff.
Right. It sounds like I'm explaining a Dragon Ball episode to you.
Yeah.
And then in the dream, Chris Hemsworth his hand was on fire, and then he hit a guy with a shield. Like, what? Okay, sure, wake up.
Sure.
He punched a guy so hard his hand, the fire on his hand went out.
Right.
It extinguished the flames.
Well, we have another trailer here, believe it or not. This one I just put in to just hurt you. Butch Cassidy and the Wild Bunch on Tubi. I didn't do it to hurt you. After watching all of Briscoe County Jr., I have this like quaint place in my heart for like indie westerns that clearly can't even afford to do a western. Where like this was clearly shot in like, Western town. And like it looks fine, but it doesn't have that much of a budget.
All the shots are real tight.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like, I watched the Blood Rain. There's a Western Blood Rain, and that one's even worse, where it's like, oh, you had like a couple of houses, and that's it. But this, seems to have Jeffrey Combs in it, and it's a Butch Cassidy, I guess, sequel.
Yeah,
and,
it has to be a prequel.
Oh, right. It does have to be a prequel, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Not just because he's younger, Dave.
I know.
Remember how
Spoilers
that movie
for
ends.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Well, and apparently this is on Tubi, right?
Yeah,
Tubi.
it is.
Apparently.
Should I try stuff like that? I hear about these services that are completely free, and I mean, maybe I'm a snob, and I'm like, it's probably not good, but I don't know.
Well,
maybe it's
they're
good.
perfect. They're perfectly fine. The issue is how much do you value your time in a world where we've been able to so tightly curate everything we watch, where it's like we've had streaming for so long. We've had, before that, we had TiVo for a while before that. So there's been ways to avoid watching commercials for a long time. So now stopping a film, like it's different for shows because they're structured and the acts are structured around commercial breaks, but a film will just break randomly in the middle of the story for like 3 minutes of commercials. So it's really just a question of how much can you stand that. And also the commercial breaks are sort of predicted by algorithms. So very often, at least as has been my experience, like we watched Young Guns for a podcast and it was free on one of these services. And because the ad breaks were chosen by an algorithm, by an AI, they would frequently come in the middle of a scene, sometimes in the middle of a sentence. So it just kind of depends on how much that bothers you. If you can look past it, they're like all totally fine.
Right.
And some of them have movies that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah, like this, which I'm going to demystify this a little bit for you guys. And this is not a good Tubi advertisement. I just looked up who directed this.
Oh, no.
It's from the director of Sharknado.
Okay.
The writer has played heavies in a lot of stuff. He's in Fast Five. He plays a biker in Little Miss Sunshine. He was in Buffy. He's like, heavy. He has written such films as Universal Soldiers, 2007's I Am Omega, which came out right around I Am Legend. The Amityville Haunting, Bermuda Triangle, Independence Day.
Oh, he's
multiple.
He's an asylum guy.
Yes, Operation Dunkirk, Atlantic Rim, San Andreas Megaquake.
No, there's an
Top
Atlantic
Gunner.
Rim.
There sure is an Atlantic Rim.
2020's Top Gunner, Jurassic Domination, and this Butch, Cassidy, and the Wild Bunch. I still want to see this movie, but I don't know why. I have no good reason to.
Yeah, they've got a Donald Sutherland running around in there. It looks like Jeffrey Combs is playing some kind of lawman.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
It's yeah, but yeah, so I don't know about Tubi or anything, but this is definitely, this is something you'd find straight to DVD normally, but now it's straight to Tubi.
It's a show too, isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's
a
not.
movie.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Man. Great. Then there'll be commercials in the middle of the lines, baby. All right. Here we go.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Hopefully not on Tubi. That was just my experience with I think Quickly
makes
Down
sense.
Under and Young Guns. It's apparently it's specifically westerns that I watch for free on these services. Westerns and Red State. We had to watch Red State on one of these services.
Oh, I had it on Blu-ray, but yes.
I watched it on like Tubi or Freeview or something.
Freevee is the worst. Freevee, because when you watch something on Amazon, even if it's something I own, they'll just like slip in the freebie version, and I have to like go out and like specify and tell Amazon like, no, I don't want fucking freebie. It's awful.
Terrible.
It's the worst problem anybody's ever had.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
It's weird how much we all know about a dozen services these days, right?
Yeah.
That's a strange knowledge set we've all built up.
Well, it's instead of channels now. People used to know about like
True.
different channels,
It's
VHS versus MTV.
Instead of knowing how to do things around my house, like small repairs or cook, I can tell you exhaustively anything you want to know about most streaming services.
Right.
It's a valuable skill.
Yeah. Speaking of streaming services, this next one is coming to Hulu. This is called Clock. This is one of, and this isn't a hit against it. It's one of several movies, horror thrillers that's come out recently that we've even covered about women getting pregnant, and it's like a body horror.
Yeah.
And I just need to know there's an obvious reason that's happening lately.
Course.
And it's the same reason Rosemary's Baby was made in 1967, like literally a few years leading up to Roe v. Wade. It's in people's minds right now.
Being
as it should be.
forced to have a baby is in people's minds.
Yeah, and so like this looks good. I think honestly, every single one of these I've encountered all look good. Like it's not like Butch, Cassidy, and the Wild Bunch.
There's a goofy moment in the trailer where like the Babadook looks into her window and gets like spooky face, but like yes, the rest of it looks really good.
Yeah.
I liked that moment only because I didn't think they were going to go full Babadook.
Full Babadook in this break.
I thought it was going to be like sci-fi thriller.
Right, because
it's like,
the rest of
Babadook.
The rest of the trailer is quite abstract, and the title Clock refers to her biological clock. She's like, "Oh, I don't have a clock," and it's just all this pressure on her to have a baby. But yes, and then one random part in the trailer, a Babadook shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you saved that for maybe the very end of the trailer if you're showing people that at all, and they just put it in the middle, and it was kind of a long beat. And then the trailer keeps going, and I was like, are there more Babadooks coming? Or is that the bad guy?
Is this a Babadook sitch? Like, is that what this movie
to a Babadook, yeah.
We're gonna have to
Babadook.
We're gonna have to fight this motherfucker at the end of the movie?
Right. Oh,
Listen,
man.
I'm excited for some Chris, but I am not down for some Duke. You know what I mean?
No,
like that's
no
the state I'm in.
No Duke, Baba.
Yeah. I want to watch Babadook now. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This looks good. It's probably not for everyone, mainly because it's just such a fucking bummer subject.
It looks
It's one of those- it's
really
like
emotionally intense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Invisible Man movie where it's like very good movie. Not everybody is going to want to watch it.
Can't recommend that to everyone. Yeah, the movie will straight up give some people panic attacks.
Exactly. And I think probably so will this.
Yeah.
This trailer showed me that I've seen the US version of The Office way too many times because Melora Hardin, who plays Jan on The Office, is a doctor in this trailer. And I was like, it's like when
God.
Jan was trying to get pregnant, but now she's the doctor. That's interesting.
The Office did that where like I feel like most of the people on there can't really like be anything else unless they become a CIA shill and steal a certain news show's idea. But other than that person,
and then sell it for millions of dollars after 3 episodes, and nothing ever comes of it.
And nothing ever comes of it.
Cut it out, Melora Hardin. Yeah,
exactly.
Stop it, Angela Kinsey.
You guys thought of the Office Ladies podcast? Yeah.
It's not her.
Is that podcast any good?
I've not listened to it because I wasn't a big Office fan.
I'm not actually. I never finished The Office.
I like that it exists and it has like gems in it, just because occasionally they either know somebody or were present for something that was great. But it's
right.
You kind of want to skip through it, I think. Yeah.
All right. Good to know. Next trailer is for Hypnotic. This, like, I just expected a name like Hypnotic that just sounds like a indie, like sci-fi, whatever.
It sounds like liquor in a blue bottle.
Yeah,
isn't
and
that
it's starring
one?
Ben Affleck.
It's starring Ben Affleck, and it's a fucking Robert Rodriguez movie.
I would argue
it's about evil hypnotist William Fichtner committing crimes and murders and abductions by hypnotizing people. Dave,
it's
I am
about Pusher.
so on board. Yes, he's Pusher.
This is my big note is just make him Pusher. So Alex,
he essentially
if
is
you
Pusher.
don't know, the X-Files Pusher episode is about a guy who can inflict his will on anybody. And they don't make him a hypnotist. It's the idea he's almost just an X-Men. Like he has a brain tumor that like did something to him that he can, anything he says to you, you'll just do. And he's terrifying. He's one of the worst X-Files villains ever.
It was in the mid-90s, right around Phenomenon, when we thought brain cancer gave you powers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so like, it's I don't know. He's one of the more formidable and memorable villains. He's a Moriarty to Mulder in a way. He has 2 episodes.
Nice.
And so like that's what they're doing here, but they're making him a hypnotist, which like kind of to me takes the edge off. Like it makes it silly, right?
Right.
Because it's like I know that's not true.
It's silly, but also I don't care. Like, like Spider-Man and Blue Beetle and any other of those kinds of movies. Like, I know that shit's not real. So, like, I love that this is schlock. Like, I love that it's a thriller about a fucking evil hypnotist committing crimes and murdering and kidnapping, and only Ben Affleck can stop him, but he can't trust his eyes because he could be being hypnotized. And it's,
the idea is his daughter's been kidnapped.
Robert Rodriguez, like, yes, fuck me up, again, Hypnotic, please. Yes, I want this movie.
It's such a weird one because it feels like this should be a straight to streaming starring like B. Like the premise is such a B movie.
Right. Were it not for the people, it's kind of like Training Day. Like, were it not for the people involved, this is a B movie.
Right. By the way, the co-writer did all the new Godzillas, which is neat. Yeah. They also developed the Minority Report TV show. So, but I'm just going to call it Ben Affleck's daughter doesn't exist. That's my prediction.
Most likely.
This movie is setting up a twist, right? Because the whole thing's about how you can't trust your own brain.
Trusting. There is going to be something like that where a major character, and I think you're probably right, but like we're going to find out that like a major character doesn't exist. Like that's
he's doing it all. Yeah. Everything is under the control.
I love seeing William Fichtner in a big movie again, though.
Yes.
Good for him.
I love seeing William Fichtner.
Yeah. He and George Lopez should do something together. Now I want that.
They sure should, where they both just grow huge bushy beards.
Yeah. Does this feel like a Rodriguez movie? And what I mean by that is, I think this is good. I think it's good. Kind of the same way I like that Guy Ritchie is just sort of directing. Like, I love a good Guy Ritchie movie, and what I mean by that is like loud Guy Ritchie. But I like that he's also been doing like just like regular thrillers.
Mm-hmm.
And like part of me is always like, what's
Disney movies?
Right. Part of me is like with Wrath of Man, I was like, what's the point of this being Guy Ritchie? But then you think about like directors like Richard Donner and like, that idea of like being able to just do anything. And so I like seeing a Robert Rodriguez movie that just feels like he's just doing a movie and he's making a genre movie as opposed to a Robert Rodriguez movie. Which isn't the first time he's done it. He did like The Faculty. I would argue doesn't feel like a Robert Rodriguez movie.
And not even, for all of its faults, not even Alita Battle Angel particularly felt like a Rodriguez film to me.
Right, for better or for worse,
Yeah.
he'll do different movies. And so like, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah, it could be all right. You guys are exactly right. It seems to be going for schlock and going for just straightforwardly doing this silly, like even the trailer has a chunk of time where a lady tells us how powerful hypnotism can be to like sell the premise in a way where we all still know it's stupid, but we know how committed they are to it. So that's good.
It's one of those you only use 10% of your brain premises where it's like they're starting from a very silly idea and then they're going from there. There's a bunch of I'm looking at the production stills. There's just a series of behind the scene photos of Ben Affleck looking worried on a park bench, which is kind of a lot of this trailer. So that fits.
Yeah, they could call this movie Ben Affleck is Worried.
I also like that Ben Affleck. I said this before when we were covering Deep Water. I think he's our new Michael Douglas, which I would have never realized that. But he's filling the Michael Douglas spot. What I mean by that is like a guy who's going to be like sexy thriller or like The Game with Michael Douglas. That's what this is like. You know what I mean? Like a thriller guy, like a kind of cheesy thriller guy. And I'm into that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. I also yesterday I for the first time saw the trailer for Air, like the Air Jordans movie they're making,
right.
And like he's just kind of almost randomly in that too. I feel like he's in half of movies right now.
He's directing it.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah,
yeah.
But he's just kind of in stuff, and that was Michael Douglas to me as a kid, especially. I'd just be like, oh yeah, Michael Douglas is in this. Okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Remember The Accountant? That's like that feels
just shows
like
up.
he just I don't know who's running the show, but I think Ben Affleck, more than any other actor, is keeping 90s cheesy thrillers alive. Like Paycheck, 2003's Paycheck.
Oh, hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just good on him. Or whoever. I don't know if it's him specifically.
All right.
What do we got? What do we got next?
Do you want to move on? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was lost in Ben Affleck's IMDb. Barbie, of course.
Yeah.
Covering Barbie.
This is the second trailer for Barbie. A little bit more plot revealed, but not much. They're still keeping the plot pretty tight, but
yeah, I have theories.
We get a better idea of what the movie's going to be like.
Greta Gerwig doing Barbie, co-writing with Noah Baumbach.
With Noah Baumbach, which is
shit.
Extremely funny.
Yes, but it's also... I was talking to, I think, Cody about this the other day, is like, you look at the Mario movie that's not doing great. It's not getting good reviews. I shouldn't say it's not doing great. If you look at the writer-director, they're all like studio people. They're people who are like, yeah, we'll make a kid's movie, you know? Like the writer did a few Minions, you know what I mean? I think this is just proving to be very interesting considering that it's being made by people who don't normally do this. So I'm just so fucking curious as to what this is going to be.
Yeah.
And my guess is, because in the trailer they do something where they enter the real world.
Yes.
So my guess it's going to be about them essentially like learning that life isn't actually like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Pleasantville.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the notes, and I think that's probably an apt comparison, because what else would you do with Barbie? Because like Barbie, the world that Barbie exists in is sort of like an antiquated point of view. So how would you do that? But at any rate, regardless of what the movie decides to do, I feel like the trailer feels a little bit obvious just in all the jokes it's telling, because they're all the jokes you would tell. But it still looks like so much fun. Like I'm really into this movie. I
honestly, the high heel shot I didn't expect, and that made me go like,
really funny.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Yeah,
I also like that there's a fucked up Barbie. That there's a fucked up Barbie with her hair cut and her face drawn on. That's very fun.
Yeah, it's a fun idea. Yeah.
I agree with everything you guys are saying. Yeah, like even with the obviousness of some humor. Like there's a long bit in the trailer of them, the guys saying they're going to beach each other off when they're on a beach, and it sounds like they're going to beat each other off. And like that is an obvious joke, and I didn't mind it. I was like, that's fun, cool,
right?
Great.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, they're into it.
I love that they're everybody's Barbie and everybody's Ken, because there's so many different types of Barbies and so many different types of Ken. It's just it's really
including
funny
John Cena
and really charming. Michael Cera is in there.
Yeah, as Michael Cera's in there.
How about that?
Will Ferrell, by the way, plays a Mattel CEO, so
Yeah.
it's definitely like meta that they're going to go into the real world. It's Lego Movie, and I would argue that's okay doing it again.
Sure.
I think
there's value in tackling an idea like that in a toy that has been so dominant for girls for the past, I don't know, half century, 70 years.
Yeah.
And in specifically, like, because the Lego Movie is kind of for a kind of broader, but like Barbie is specifically for girls.
Right.
So I like the idea of tackling an idea in a similar way that the Lego Movie did, like addressing sort of like an antiquated viewpoint maybe, or any number of other directions you could take with a Barbie movie, like the Malibu Stacy episode of The Simpsons, where she tries to make Lisa Lionheart. I think that's cool. I think even if it does kind of cover a lot of the same ground that the Lego Movie does, I think there's still space and value for a movie like this.
For sure. And there's, I think, a very key part of this is that it's clearly been made with love. And like, so
right,
like, you
yeah,
compare a movie like this.
It's not shitting on Barbie. It's like they clearly like Barbie. Yeah.
But like in a way that I think even if this movie wasn't about what we're talking about, and it might not be, we don't know, but it's still made with that love that I think, like, you look at something like the Emoji Movie, where they're like, look, it's the poop emoji, where it's all references to the things, right? Or that's why here the new Mario movie is. It's a lot of, you remember this thing. Hey, remember this thing? Mm. Whereas this, like that fucked up Barbie, that's a reference not to a Barbie, but to our relationship with Barbie.
Right.
And that's, I think, the key thing is that when it's a reference to remember doing this, remember enjoying it in this way, that is a lot more effective as a reference, that it feels unique and it feels like they actually gave a shit. And so that it just feels like this is going to really be something good. Of course, we're not going by much, but there's a lot of intent here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super curious about that.
And a huge cast, it appears.
Yeah. So many. I've heard there's a lot of cameos of people as different Barbies and Kens.
That's great.
So
cool.
Yeah, and probably, I'm guessing it's probably because whatever the premise is was like immediately people are like, oh, I want to do that, you know? Like there's probably just something really fun about being in this. It at least looks that way. So.
Yeah. No, I'm totally into this trailer. I loved this trailer.
Yeah. Excited. Hyped.
Yeah.
Good to be hyped. Yeah. I'm broadly hyped about most everything we talked about. That was cool.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Cool. Yeah. This is quite a week, Dave. So you know what we should do next?
Some bummer news stories. But first...
yeah, some sad ass news stories to take the wind out of our sails.
Yeah. So, 3 news stories that are all bummers.
They're all bummers.
But we got to thank some producers first.
I would say at most a medium bummer, right? We're not going to like break hearts out here or nothing.
No.
It's just entertainment stuff.
Yeah, we're not talking about like fucking TWA Flight 180 or whatever. it's all still just movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So it will only be so sad. You know?
Yeah, it's pop culture bummers, yes. But first, we got to thank some more producers. So
let's do it.
Big thank you to Deborah is awesome, Barbara is great, and cancer can go to hell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula, the bus driving vampire. Thank you to Driftless wrote Mabel's name in the Witch's Book of Blood.
Thank you.
Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Evil Ed 209.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Exploding Runes.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J Mostly Comes Out at Night. Mostly.
Thank you.
To Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Heathcliff's Helping Handfuls.
Thank you. Oh, man, let me swoop in here. All right. Thank you to Ombre says, Mabel, step on me.
Yes.
Thank you to ImpossibleWorlds.net, the new quarterly anthology featuring works from creators like Michael Swaim.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you to James Cameron's, Jesus Christ. Thank you to James Cameron's Prolapse Locomotive.
And Hal.
Thank you to Chris Yanovich.
Thank you.
Thank you to Look Bomb on a podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mercurial Oz.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mike the Lurker.
Thanks.
Thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie.
Yes.
Thank you to No One Can Hear You Scream in Space McNulty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So they've just announced a live-action Moana.
Good.
When was Moana made?
2016, Dave. So here's my theory. Because the live-action Moana remake was...
It's going to fold in on itself.
It's not even a decade old. So here's my theory, guys. This is what I think. So The Rock announced this live-action Moana remake on his Twitter account and all his socials and stuff, and he's very much involved in it. He's the driving force in getting it made. He's an executive producer. He's going to play Maui again, most likely. At least it's what the article says, although the actress who played Moana in the original is only going to be an executive producer. But anyway, the point is The Rock's clearly the person who got this movie made. So I suspect that he ate so much shit after the debacle that was Black Adam. Like, in terms of, regardless of how...
It was a bad movie.
It wasn't a great movie, for sure.
Not enough Pierce Brosnan, that's what I think.
Definitely not enough Pierce Brosnan. It kind of bombed. It had this post... Okay. Oh my God, Alex. There are parts of it that are fine, but mostly it's like really boring and dated. Like, it feels like 6 years out of date.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But like, there's a post-credit scene where like Henry Cavill as Superman comes back, and then right after that came out, they're like, James Gunn and everybody else at DC was like, yeah, Henry Cavill's not coming back as Superman. This is not happening.
Yeah.
It's clear
and then
that
apparently he didn't want Shazam in there. Although considering that actor, that seems like a whole other thing too.
Right. Yeah. Zachary Levi's got his own problem, but basically, like, The Rock, sort of his ego and clout was the driving force behind getting Black Adam made, and he really put a lot into it and like swore up and down it was going to be this huge hit, and like tried to engineer it to like reinvigorate the DC universe all around this character, and it bombed. It fell on its face. They're not making any more Black Adams. It just didn't connect with people. He really ate shit on that movie. So I suspect that after that very public and then he was on like social media trying to like say that, well, it made this amount of money. The Black Adam made $200 million in its opening weekend. That's the same amount of money that the first Captain America movie made in 2011. It's like, dude, that doesn't that doesn't make any sense.
Oh no.
He was being really not as embarrassing as Zachary Levi has been about Shazam 2, but he was being kind of embarrassing about it on social media, trying to insist that it wasn't as big of a failure as it clearly was.
DC had like their implosion moment, like that moment that happens in movies where the villain is like in handcuffs, like I'll get you all, where like it never happens in real life. That seemed to happen where like multiple actors were like, damn you, and it all fell apart.
Yeah. So anyway, I suspect that he ate so much shit on Black Adam that he pivoted hard into something that is quote unquote safe, that he knows is going to make a lot of money, and he's he's a big enough fish that he could walk into Disney and be like, let's do a Moana live action remake with me in it.
Right, and then some poor writer hears that and he's like, fuck, okay.
Which is,
fine.
Like, that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because, like we pointed out at the beginning of talking about this news story, Moana came out in 2016. That movie is not even a decade old, and they're already doing a live-action reboot.
So I don't hate your theory, but I will have a counter theory.
Okay.
Disney likes money.
They sure do, Dave.
Yeah, and they don't care anymore. It reminds me of the Onion article from like the 90s that was, we may be running out of our retro resources, and it's about how our retro is like folding in on itself.
Yeah.
That's kind of what always happens. Like, it's eating itself, where it's like, I'm waiting for the live action remake of the live action like Lion King, and it's gonna happen.
where
or
they
like
use,
a reboot
where they
of
use
the
actual
live action
animals, like Air Bud style.
Or just like they're just, It's that thing where it's like, come on, just make more stories.
Make like
I'm begging you,
a new movie, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, but that definitely could be it. I don't know.
It just bums me. It bums me out so hard. But yeah, like, Alex, please.
I think
let us hear your thoughts.
I think you guys are right on the two driving forces being The Rock wants to do it and Disney likes money. Like I think just it's one of the rare things in movie making and these giant companies where so many people are involved. But I feel like once that one switch flips of The Rock said he would just come and do this, like it just aligns with everything else. Like all the parts just fall in place and they tape an announcement. Yeah. You know, like that's it.
And the worst part is like, it'll make a bunch of money. Like
it might.
Yeah,
it might.
I would say so. We're seeing this with superheroes, right? That like people, there's already all these think pieces are like, is Guardians of the Galaxy going to be the first Marvel bomb? Is superhero films over? To which I say, I think the moment Deadpool 3 happens, that'll switch again. Or all they have to do to get me back is bring back X-Men, but that's a different conversation. My point being that like it does feel like we're seeing this moment of like, it's finally over, and I'm sort of waiting for these Disney remakes. Is like, when will the public finally go, okay, stop?
I think here.
I hope, but I've said that before about other things, so it's like, who can say? Like, because the thing is, it will end. But they still make a ton of money in the meantime. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like being a weird scammy, like a corporate rich guy, where it's like you always have a golden parachute. Like they're gonna do it until it doesn't, and then they just move on, right? No one goes to jail for this.
Yeah, I just like to try to put it in their perspective of like a kid right. Who saw Moana in 2016. Let's say they were 12, so like in middle school. Now, now they're seeing the announcement that there's going to be a live action remake of a movie they saw in middle school, and now they're about to graduate high school, which is not that many years. Like, think about if they had announced they were remaking Independence Day when you were a senior in high school, what would you think?
You're right. That's what it is, because the nostalgia cash grab needs nostalgia.
It needs nostalgia. And nostalgia has not developed for Moana because it's not even a fucking decade old.
But the thing is, it's in that stage where it's like, so it's not even that though. It's like remaking Dumbo. There's no kid with nostalgia for Dumbo.
No.
So what they're banking on there is someone as a kid being new to it. And the problem is, by doing Moana, the kids that they're banking on are like, yeah, I know Moana already. I watched Moana. So like they don't have that. And then you're right, is they also don't have the nostalgia factor. So it's like they missed that. Like they can't wait for the sweet spot that they need, which is people to show their kids something they have nostalgia for, right?
Yeah.
That's how that's supposed to go.
It's there's just one last thing I wanted to point out is there's an excerpt from this Hollywood Reporter article that we're referencing to talk about this today. And here's the line. I put it in the notes. It's a strategy that has yielded huge dividends, with some movies, such as Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, becoming billion-dollar hits, and some earning plaudits for creativity.
Ugh.
So the article flat out says that this is a strategy about making money, and sometimes they actually make interesting creative decisions.
Right. Sometimes they get a gold star for being creative.
Sometimes they're actually good. Is basically what this article is saying.
They're saying in a very nice way.
It's fuck this trend.
Speaking of sucking the life out of things, they're making HBO is going ahead with a Harry Potter TV series. It's going to be a book a season, and they're just doing it again.
They're just doing it again.
And
man, weird.
It's going to last probably as long as those movies came out, right? Like every.
No, those movies went on for 11 years, because the first one came out in 2001, and then the final one came out in 2011.
But how many books are there?
7.
7. So it'll last 7 seasons, so probably 7 years. So yeah, not even. And as if to like really test people's patience, J.K. Rowling is in talks to produce. Right. So you can't even say like, well, she won't get that much money for this.
In point of fact, the series is contingent upon her coming on board as a producer.
Right. It's like they want. I don't know what they want. I don't know. This is just bleak.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. So, just real quick, similar to the Rocky thing about the live action Moana thing. It's very telling that Warner Brothers ate shit so hard on their 5-movie plan for Fantastic Beasts that they're like, fuck it, we're just rebooting Harry Potter, but we're doing it as a show this time, so It's a little less creatively bankrupt.
I also want to point out that like there was a whole conversation around this Harry Potter game. This is why. Like, this is why people are like, please don't buy that game. Because this keeps happening. Yeah, J.K. Rowling gets more money. They see the game succeed, and they're like, well, shit. Yeah. No one gives a fuck that she's like a weird TERF. Let's just keep giving her money.
It seems like her, and not only that, it seems like her involvement in Harry Potter projects is necessary for their success. Like, the Harry Potter game, I just wanted to say real quick, is currently the best-selling game of the year. Yeah. Like, not only did people not buy it, they bought the shit out of it. So it's like... And now this is like just to underscore what Dave was saying. And I think
people justified it a lot by being like, "Well, she's not directly involved," and it's like, well, "This is what happened. This is why."
This is why.
Where it's like she's she's going to get more and more rich.
I hope that game was good.
Right, because you're making a bad person even more rich. And I don't know. When I say I'm just meaning like the world. So I don't know. It's just frustrating.
The easiest thing in the fucking universe is not to buy a $70 game, and y'all couldn't do it.
I don't know. And on top of it...
Did you hear all the PC games we listed before? Exactly. Civilization, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Age of Empires 2. Come on.
King's Quest.
But the J.K. Rowling stuff aside, like, I'm just... We don't need more Harry Potter.
It's been a little over 10 years since the last movie came out, but like those movies are still... It would be like remaking Star Wars in 1993. Like 10 years after Return of the Jedi came out. It's like, really? That's a weird choice.
Man. Who would, like, Jonathan Taylor Thomas would be Luke Skywalker or something?
Hell yeah. Hell yes. Hell yes.
It's the same with the Moana problem. It's like, listen, where things get remade. I've advocated for making a Jurassic Park TV show based on the book. So, like, I'm not against this idea. No. But it is for me of just like, listen, I just got away from Harry Potter. Like, we reviewed Fantastic Beasts, the sequel.
It hasn't gone anywhere. They just had a Fantastic Beasts movie come out last year. They just had the Hogwarts Legacy game come out this year. Like, we're still in it. Like, it hasn't left.
Right. And so it's just like, I feel like I just got a breath of Harry Potter free air, barely. And it's like this, and I'm like, come on. Like, I don't... Fuck me.
Stuff needs to go away for you to have nostalgia for it. That's like part of it.
Yeah, I guess that's the hope, is because it just seems like, for one thing, J.K. Rowling is in the spot I wish every creator was in, where she's in a really control and good position on making money on her own stuff. But I guess the hope is just that this works itself out naturally, kind of like how when I saw Fantastic Beasts 2 in a theater, and it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and then Johnny Depp was in it, and I was like, oh, cool, we can stop as the audience. Great. Like, this just wraps itself up because they messed it up. Good.
Yeah. It's frustrating. I don't know. I mean, different people have different thoughts on this, obviously. I can't speak for everyone with this shit. And I'm coming down hard on certain things here, but like, I think part of it is I also have no nostalgia for Harry Potter. Like, I saw it in my 20s. I never read the books.
It was never dear to me. So it's
easy for me to come down hard on this shit.
Exactly. It's very easy for me to throw Harry Potter away, and I recognize that it's not easy for other people because you grew up with it and it was very important to you, and I understand that.
Yeah, and I understand that, like, a game in that universe means a lot to people. It's just from the outside, someone who never was like particularly into Harry Potter. It's just one of those things where I'm like, can you just go away? I just want you to go away, for the love of God.
Right. The same. On the same token, I do believe that, like, you can deprive yourself of a Harry Potter video game for the sake of your fellow human beings. Like,
right.
There's kind of no excuse.
Civilization 5 still plays good, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a good time.
There
Are there wizards in it?
millions of other
No.
games you can play.
No wizards at all, actually. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Oh, nice.
There are other games that have wizards in them, too.
That's true. Like Heretic. Remember the PC game Heretic?
Heretic, yes, and Hexen.
It was Doom, but you're a wizard.
Hexen, the sequel to Heretic.
Ooh, yeah. God, I want to play Heretic now.
It's pretty fucking sweet, Dave.
It really is. Speaking of things that are, I don't know, pretty fucking sweet. They're talking about a Shrek reboot.
Sure.
For the love of God. I think what they actually mean is a sequel, because they're like, Shrek reboot in the works. They're negotiating with the original cast. And it was like, so just like re-release the original then, right? Like, why would you reboot it with the same cast?
That was confusing. The word reboot made it sound like they're going to do a remake of the first movie, which, especially with an animated comedy, seems weird. You can just...
Right. It's probably going to be like a soft reboot.
Right. You know what would
probably
happen? It'll be like
a Force Awakens.
Legacy sequel. Yeah, Force Awakens. They'll kill off Shrek.
They might. Shrek gets
He'll
fucking
get shot on a
stabbed
bridge.
by his son.
Yeah.
Falls into a hell
that's what
pit.
I want.
Donkey fucking freaks out.
Yeah, the Force is like onions or whatever. Sure, that's good. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, I feel nothing for Shrek, so go for it. What was I going to say? Oh, I do think, you know what would be a neat idea, or maybe this is very stupid. Why don't they just re-release Shrek with a remaster? Like CGI movies, you could like, from like when like CGI, like Toy Story, where it's like it wasn't perfect, you could remaster it like a video game, right?
Well,
what's stopping them?
You would. It's not just like running a filter. You would have to reanimate it.
Oh yeah, no, it would be a lot of work, but they'd make money. They do these live action
that's true.
remakes. It's just like, I don't know, do a remaster. Is that weird? Is that a weird thing to do? Do like a photorealistic Toy Story. Fuck it. Maybe it's my nihilism speaking here, because I'm just like, listen, we're already in the hole. We might as well do this too.
That's the other bummer that I wanted to mention about Moana real quick. Is a photorealistic Moana is something that nobody ever asked for. Anyway,
right? Yes.
What do we want? Let's take this gorgeous, colorful, lush movie and drain all of the color out of it.
Yeah,
fucking idiots. Anyway.
I love these three stories feel designed to make us go, yeah, fuck it, Shrek reboot. I've been whittled down.
Shrek, this honestly is the least creatively bankrupt to me. Because it's like, well, sure, like Shrek's been gone for a while. The last Shrek movie, well, technically the last Shrek movie came out this year because there was a Puss in Boots movie. But like the last proper Shrek movie, it's been like 15 years or 10 years.
Yeah, also it's Shrek.
It's Shrek. I don't know. Why is Shrek precious? Like, fuck it. Do another Shrek. It's been a long time. People have lots of nostalgia for Shrek. People grew up with Shrek. It feels a little bit more earned than something like Moana.
Right, and Shrek, do you remember when Shrek was like really sharp when it came out? It was really like meta. We hadn't seen anything like it. It was like, wow, look at them commenting on this stuff.
The original Shrek in 2000 was considered like a cutting edge comedy. Or 2001 rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there was a time when both Shrek and Family Guy were really just out here kicking butt, you know? It was like, ooh, here they come, you know? And then not so much now, but I don't know. They're gonna bring it back.
Yeah, fuck it. Bring back Shrek. I hope there's so many Smash Mouth songs.
I hope it's like, an entire soundtrack of Smash Mouth songs.
Yeah. Shrek.
Fucking Shrek.
Dave,
let's name some more producers.
Yeah. And then we're going to bring it back up. We're going to bring back up the hype. We hit like the third act, the dark third act.
Yep, the dark night of the soul.
Exactly.
Shrek
big
strikes
thank
back.
You, too.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, to Norm from Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Pete Forpagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcanoconiosis Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you to pre-order TikTok superstar Jason Pargin's new book, So He Is Too Drunk for This Dystopia. Pre-orders are super important.
Thank you.
Thank you to RevMD.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you.
Thank you to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Thanks.
Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Don't do that to horses.
Thank you to Snapper Car Punches God extra hard in the dick for Tom. We missed you, Tom.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you to Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist.
Thank you.
Thank you to Steven.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head. Thank you.
So easy. So convenient. Let me swoop in here. Thank you to Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight.
Thank you.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Thank you to the Oatmeal Savage.
Thank you.
Thank you to the To Be Terror Bunny says, thank you for watching Dead Heat.
Yes, you're welcome.
We did watch Dead Heat on movie night last week.
We sure did.
Thank you to these 7 Bs.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tux.
Thank you.
Thank you to Vincent with a Y.
Thank you.
Thank you to Why Don't You Take a Flying Fuck at the Moon?
Thank you.
Thank you to Your Mom.
Thank you.
And thank you to Zzz because Pie Guy liked being last.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dave.
Yes.
We've had some hype. We've had some cast.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would really take it all home for us right now
is
if you could close that fucking idiot hole in the center of your face.
Okay.
And think
I'm not sure.
Think for a second.
Okay.
And discover whether or not you have a movie that deserves more hype.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I do. I have one of those.
He does. Yeah. What luck?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's very lucky. We're very lucky.
I'm so glad you're here for this, Alex. Continue, Dave, please.
This is a movie called Tommy Guns. This is coming out of Portugal, I believe. This is coming out April 12th in select theaters. Will probably be on streaming right after that. It is probably going to be a pretty fucking dark film. It's about something that I don't fully understand. And what I mean by that, it's about in Portugal an actual thing that happened right before the country's independence in 1974. It seems to be like soldiers just, doing super genocides. I feel really ignorant because I didn't look into the actual historical thing, but it's clearly like an atrocity that happened in this country. And it's from the perspective of a Portuguese soldier, and actually multiple soldiers, kind of participating in these horrible fucking events. The hook, so to speak, is that this movie rapidly changes genres to the point that it starts as like a drama according to the reviews, and then it becomes like a thriller, and it actually turns into a zombie film. And while that sounds like really fucking weird or inappropriate, it's apparently a very good thing they're doing, and I believe it's trying to capture the horror of what's happening. There's certain things that are out of time or out of reality where it's like the soldiers are kind of dressed in a way that's more like warriors, like the movie Warriors. There's these weird genre bending ideas, and it turns on a dime. And surprisingly, most of the reviews are saying it really works. Wow. And so and you can tell from the trailer, because the trailer you're like, okay, this is like a drama, but the last shot is a grave and a hand bursts out of the grave, and it's like, what the fuck? So yeah, it's a little bit of, you have to see it, but I think I can explain it well in just saying that it's it's about a horrific idea, but it's sort of presenting it in a very surreal way to make a point.
Yeah. I was super into this trailer. The only note I really had was that it seems like the escalating nature of the film is sort of commenting on the steady normalization of horrific things.
I could see that.
As a component of colonialism, because that seems to be, that's what all the pull quotes seem to be saying. That's what the reviews that you're quoting in the notes seem to be saying, is that the movie is commenting on colonialism. So it seems like the escalating nature of the movie is this is what we just continue to accept as normal, and this is how horrible things like colonialism continue to happen.
Right.
And this is a super interesting way to explore that idea, and I'm super into it. I'm into this. It looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I saw it and, I had to like read the summary to find out specifically that it was about the Portuguese colonization of Angola in Africa. Like I just don't know much about that history at all. And yeah, it seems like they're playing with a lot of things, especially from other blockbuster or science fiction or horror movies, to make this independent movie about this really, really real thing. And I don't know, the last thing I saw that is vaguely like that is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was awesome. So great.
Right. Yeah, this looks heavy as shit. It's probably not very optimistic because of the nature of what it's about. But it, as a piece of filmmaking, it looks very unique. And so I'm kind of psyched for what this is.
Yeah,
looks neat.
It looks good too. Like not just thematically, like it looks well made. It looks interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I hope it gets more buzz. I don't think it'll be Everything Everywhere level, but
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, but I hope it gets enough buzz, and I hope it's available soon, because right now it's just select theaters, so big city elites can see it right now.
Yeah,
or April 12th, rather.
I love being a big city elite.
And I might have been reductive when I said it's like Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it's independent and it's foreign and it's different, but I don't know. I know
what you're saying, though. Yeah,
because I am not super familiar with the general set of movies coming out. So then I feel like I hear about 10 different superhero movies coming, and then something like this where it's just so totally different, and they definitely have made a bunch of specific choices for a reason. So that's cool.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it can snap through genres, and it's about something that's more deep than you'd think. But it's not a multiverse or anything like that. It's just a very unique looking movie. It definitely doesn't have like the same pacing or anything, but I know what you're saying with that for sure. And so I'm super curious about this. Tommy Guns. Maybe Google that with the word film. Maybe with our current year, because
specifically request that it doesn't include results for Rocky 5.
Right, or like a male stripper. There's a lot of things Tommy Guns could be, including the gun. So
Right. Yeah, you don't want that. What's that gun going to do for you? Nothing.
Did I ever tell you guys that Rocky 5 was the second Rocky movie I ever saw? I saw the first one.
Wait, what was the first one you saw?
The first one. And then my dad showed me that, and I was like, oh, amazing. And then I was at some friend's house, and they were like, we're going to watch Rocky 5. And I was like, okay. And it was worse. It was not as good.
It is worse. It is bad. It's like, what if Rocky was
not
bad?
as good. Yeah.
I was like, how did it get to a fifth movie? It seems like it really fell off.
What a weird thing to make a bunch of sequels of.
I know. Anyway, guys, that is a sode. We've done it. Woo! Alex, thank you so much for being on the show.
Always great. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Why don't you do a little more plugs? Plug it.
I also
plug it in.
I mean to plug, but I am looking at the emoji of Taffin in the Discord, and folks,
it's awesome. Right?
Let me tell you,
I signed up for a $3 a month subscription just so you could see that, Alex. I wanted you to have that. It's really important to me.
Here's the you guys very kindly let me plug the podcast on our Maximum Fun thing going on, and so Secretly Incredibly Fascinating. Please check it out. And then I've been writing a monthly column for 1-900 Hot Dog, which is a wonderful comedy website from Brockway and Sean Baby, and then also many other friends of ours writing for it, and Tom writing for it, and it's a great time. And I wrote some Pierce Brosnan specific stuff over there, and so some people know that I really like Pierce Brosnan, and these guys turned me on to a clip from a movie called Taffin, where Pierce Brosnan just flies off the handle at a lady in a not scary way and just really weird way. It's great.
Greatest plug ever.
Hell yeah.
I'm just plugging Taffin. Check it out.
Yeah, it's plugging Taffin. Maybe you shouldn't be living here anymore.
Yeah, I've seen 10 seconds of it and I love it. Yeah.
Man, Hot Dog is great. I hope I'm on a bit of a hiatus right now, but I'm hopefully going to get back to it soon. But
you're going to guzzle that dog once more.
Really love reading all of Alex's stuff on Hot Dog and everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
Dave, why don't you tell him some stuff?
We have a Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, GAMEFULLY unemployed. We watch movies every Friday night with our patrons. That's something you can do over there. But also, we just have podcasts for $5 a month. You get access to Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. And then there's a bunch of other tiers on there. We have a Discord, a whole community of very nice people. So check that out.
Check it out. We also have a store. Head over to GameFullyUnemployed.com where you can find a link to our Teespring store, where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs. You can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So slap your taffin peepers onto that.
Here. Taff those peeps.
Taff peeps.
Taff them.
All right.
Yeah, and I don't know if I totally explained it right. Just Google Pierce Brosnan taffin yelling, and then there'll be a little YouTube clip. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or just Google Pierce Brosnan. Check him out.
Just in general, Google Pierce Brosnan.
He played James Bond.
You could also search Maybe You Shouldn't Be Living Here Anymore, and that will bring you to the clip immediately. But yes, in general, just Google Pierce Brosnan. It will enrich your life.
It's great.
Lawnmower Man.
Yeah? Yeah.
Other things, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Remington Steele.
Yep.
All right. That's enough. That's enough. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. You can find more of his artwork at instagram.com/mvbramleyart. Our episode artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.